Welcome back to velmyst, UK. Imagine waking up one summer morning and finding the sky covered by a strange haze. The sun appears weak. The air feels heavy. People begin coughing. Animals become sick. Crops start failing, and nobody knows why. This isn't fiction. It isn't a disaster movie. It really happened. In 1783, a mysterious cloud spread across Britain and much of Europe. For months, it darkened the skies and terrified millions. People prayed. Rumors spread everywhere. But the truth was far more shocking than anyone could imagine. Tonight, we uncover the forgotten disaster that turned Britain dark. The summer of 1783 began normally. Across Britain, farmers prepared for another growing season. Markets were busy, villages were thriving, and few people suspected that one of the strangest environmental disasters in history was about to begin. Then something changed. A strange haze appeared across the horizon. At first, many people ignored it, but day after day, the haze remained, growing thicker, growing stranger. Witnesses described the sun as pale red. Its light seemed weakened. Even at midday, the sky looked unusual. Many people believed something was terribly wrong. Soon, breathing became difficult. Reports emerged from towns and villages across Britain. People complained of sore throats, burning eyes, and a strange smell lingering in the air. There were no weather satellites, no atmospheric science, no modern understanding of pollution, only fear and speculation. As weeks passed, the haze spread across Europe, from Britain to France, from Germany to Scandinavia. Entire regions found themselves trapped beneath the strange cloud. Some believed it was a sign from God. Others feared disease. Many wondered if the world itself was changing. The mystery deepened with every passing day. Fields that should have flourished struggled to grow. Farmers watched helplessly as harvests weakened. The consequences would soon become devastating. But the failing crops were only the beginning, because somewhere far beyond Britain's shores, an event was unfolding that would change the lives of millions. An event so powerful that its effects could be felt across an entire continent. And nobody in Britain knew it was happening. By midsummer, the strange haze had become impossible to ignore. Across Britain, people noticed the air felt unusually heavy. Visibility dropped, the sun appeared dim, and a thick bluish fog seemed to hang over the land day after day. The effects quickly became more serious. People reported headaches, breathing difficulties, and persistent coughing. Those already suffering from illness were particularly vulnerable. Yet nobody understood what was causing these symptoms. Farmers watched in frustration as crops struggled to grow. The unusual conditions disrupted the growing season. Fields that should have been green and healthy began showing signs of damage. For many families, this threatened their survival. Livestock also suffered. Reports emerged of animals becoming weak or sick. Some died unexpectedly. In rural communities where families depended heavily on their animals, the losses were devastating. Across Europe, similar stories appeared. The mysterious haze respected no borders. Villages, towns, and cities all found themselves beneath the same strange sky. People everywhere were searching for answers. Some witnesses described rivers and lakes looking unusual. Others spoke of strange smells carried by the wind. The environment itself seemed to be changing. Fear spread almost as quickly as the haze. Without modern science, many explanations sounded believable. Some blamed disease, others blamed weather. A few believed it was a warning from heaven. In an age before atmospheric research, almost anything seemed possible.
Meanwhile, temperatures began behaving strangely. In some areas, the summer became unusually hot. The haze trapped heat close to the ground, making already difficult conditions even worse. As weeks turned into months, the mystery deepened. The haze refused to disappear. Entire communities adapted to living beneath a sky that no longer looked normal, and still, nobody knew where it had come from. But while Britain struggled beneath the strange cloud, the true cause of the disaster was hidden far away, hundreds of miles across the North Atlantic, on a remote island where the Earth itself had begun to tear apart. The answer to Britain's mysterious haze was not hidden in London or Paris or anywhere else in Europe. It began on a remote island in the North Atlantic, Iceland, a land of volcanoes, glaciers, and powerful geological forces. And in 1783, one of the largest volcanic disasters in recorded history was about to begin. On June 8, 1783, the ground suddenly split open, not with a single eruption, but with a massive volcanic fissure stretching across the landscape. For miles, fire burst from the earth, creating a terrifying scene unlike anything most people had ever witnessed. This volcanic system became known as Laki. Over the following months, enormous amounts of lava poured across the land. Entire valleys were transformed, and the eruption showed little sign of stopping. But lava was not the greatest danger. Far more destructive were the gases released into the atmosphere. Millions of tons of sulfur dioxide rose into the sky, creating a vast toxic cloud. Powerful winds carried these gases high above the Atlantic Ocean. Day after day, week after week, the cloud spread further and further until it began reaching mainland Europe. Without realizing it, millions of people were living beneath the effects of a volcanic eruption occurring hundreds of miles away. The mysterious haze that covered Britain was not local. It was the result of a disaster unfolding in Iceland. Modern scientists now know that sulfur-rich volcanic gases can create thick atmospheric haze, the same strange fog described by witnesses in 1783. The same fog that darkened skies across Europe. For people living at the time, however, the truth remained hidden. No telegraphs existed. No weather satellites, no international scientific networks. News traveled slowly, and the connection between Iceland and Britain remained unknown. Meanwhile, conditions in Iceland became catastrophic. Poisonous gases damaged vegetation, livestock died in huge numbers, famine spread, and thousands of people faced unimaginable hardship. The eruption would continue for months, and its consequences would reach far beyond Iceland. Because the haze that darkened Britain was only the beginning. Soon, the entire climate would begin to change, and the worst effects were still to come. As the volcanic gases spread through the atmosphere, their effects became increasingly severe. The haze that had once seemed strange was now becoming dangerous. Across Europe, people began noticing unusual changes in weather, agriculture, and health. The disaster was far larger than anyone realized. In Britain, farmers watched their harvests struggle. The growing season had already been affected by the strange atmospheric conditions. For communities dependent on successful crops, even small losses could be devastating. Across Europe, reports of respiratory illness increased. The sulfur-rich air irritated eyes, throats, and lungs. Although people did not understand the cause, many were suffering from the effects of volcanic pollution.
Scientists today believe that thousands of deaths may have been linked to the toxic conditions created by the eruption. The haze was not merely unusual weather. It was one of the largest atmospheric pollution events in recorded history. Yet, the eruption's influence did not end with the summer. The volcanic gases continued affecting the atmosphere long after the haze first appeared, and the following winter would become one of the harshest in living memory. The winter of 1783 to 1784 brought extreme cold across many regions. Rivers froze, snow covered the countryside, transportation became difficult. Communities already weakened by the previous months now faced another crisis. In some places, food shortages worsened. Poor harvests combined with severe weather created hardship for thousands of families. The effects of a volcanic eruption hundreds of miles away were now being felt across an entire continent. Historians now consider the Laki eruption one of Europe's greatest forgotten disasters. Not because of a single dramatic moment, but because of the enormous chain reaction it created. A disaster that unfolded slowly over many months. Remarkably, most people living through the event never learned the true cause. For them, the haze remained a mystery. A terrifying chapter that seemed to appear without warning and disappear without explanation. It would take generations of scientific progress before researchers finally connected Britain's dark skies to the eruption in Iceland. Only then would the mystery of 1783 begin to reveal its secrets. For more than 2 centuries, people continued asking the same question. What exactly caused the Great Haze of 1783? The people who lived through it never knew, but future generations would eventually uncover the answer. As science advanced during the 19th and 20th centuries, researchers began examining old records, weather observations, personal diaries, government reports, and eyewitness accounts from across Europe. The evidence pointed toward Iceland, more specifically the massive Laki eruption of 1783. Scientists realized the timing matched perfectly. The volcanic gases had traveled across the continent. Modern climate studies confirmed the theory. The haze, the polluted air, the crop damage, and the unusual weather patterns all could be traced back to the eruption. What seems like a local mystery was actually a global event, a reminder that nature can connect distant places in unexpected ways. A volcanic eruption in Iceland had changed life in Britain. Today, the Laki eruption is considered one of the most significant environmental disasters in recorded history. Yet many people have never heard of it. Its story remains largely forgotten. The disaster also changed the way scientists study climate and atmospheric events. It became a powerful example of how volcanic eruptions can affect entire continents. For Britain, the Great Haze of 1783 remains one of the strangest chapters in its history. Months of darkness, fear, confusion, and a mystery nobody could explain. And perhaps that is why the story still fascinates us today. Because it reminds us how vulnerable people once were to forces they could not understand. The skies eventually cleared, the haze disappeared, but the mystery remained hidden for generations, until science finally revealed the truth. A truth that began with fire beneath the earth, and ended beneath the darkened skies of Britain. Thank you for watching velmyst UK. If you enjoy British mysteries, forgotten disasters, hidden history, and fascinating true stories, please subscribe and join us for more journeys into Britain's mysterious past. Take care, and we'll see you in the next documentary.